Born from the memory of West African communities brought across the Sahara, Gnawa culture transformed suffering into rhythm, spirituality, and resilience. In Morocco, African traditions blended with Sufi devotion, creating the powerful Lila ceremony. The deep voice of the Gembri, the metallic pulse of Kirkab, and the call of the Tebel carry stories of ancestry and freedom. From Essaouira's streets to international stages, Gnawa music now connects jazz, blues, rock, and new generations. Recognized by UNESCO in 2019, its once silenced voice now resonates across the world. Gnawa culture transformed suffering into rhythm, spirituality, and resilience. Before becoming one of Morocco's most powerful musical traditions, Gnawa culture began with a long journey across history and geography. Its roots come from the ancient civilizations of West Africa, especially regions that today include Mali, Senegal, and Burkina Faso. Through centuries of exchanges between Africa south of the Sahara and North Africa, communities carried with them their languages, spiritual beliefs, rhythms, and ancestral memories. Their arrival in Morocco was marked by difficult historical experiences, including the trans-Saharan slave trade. Yet, from these painful chapters emerged a remarkable cultural identity built on dignity, spirituality, and artistic expression. The Gnawa transformed their memories into music, turning instruments and rituals into a powerful language of survival and connection between generations. When these African communities settled in Morocco, their traditions entered into dialogue with Moroccan culture, especially popular Islam and Sufi spirituality. Over generations, a unique spiritual system was created, combining African ancestral memories with Moroccan religious traditions. This fusion gave birth to the mystical universe of Gnawa. At the heart of this culture is the famous Lila of Derdeba, a night ceremony where music, prayer, rhythm, and movement create a profound spiritual experience. Guided by the Malam, the master musician, and supported by the Mokadema, the ceremony follows a carefully organized sequence where colors, rhythms, and melodies represent different spiritual symbols. The Lila became not only a ritual, but also a space for healing, community, and emotional connection. The soul of Gnawa music lives through its unique instruments, each carrying centuries of history. The Gembri, also called sintir, is the heart of the ensemble. This three-stringed bass instrument produces deep vibrations that guide the rhythm and connect musicians with ancestral memories. The krokeb, large iron castanets, create a powerful metallic sound that has become the signature rhythm of Gnawa music. For many Gnawa communities, this sound carries the memory of their ancestors and their journey through history. The tebel, a large traditional drum, completes the musical structure, especially during outdoor processions and celebrations. Together, these instruments create a hypnotic sound that crosses borders and continues to inspire musicians around the world. Among all Moroccan cities, Essaouira became the symbolic heart of Gnawa culture. Located on the Atlantic coast, this historic port city welcomed generations of Gnawa families who preserved their musical heritage and passed it from masters to students. Its ancient walls, narrow streets, and ocean atmosphere created a unique environment where traditional rhythms continue to live. But Essaouira is not alone. Cities such as Marrakesh, Fez, Tangier, and the desert village of Hamlia also became important centers where Gnawa traditions remain alive. Today, these places represent living museums where music, history, and identity meet, allowing visitors from around the world to discover the richness of this extraordinary heritage. For centuries, Gnawa music remained deeply connected to Moroccan communities, but in the modern era, its powerful rhythms began reaching audiences far beyond Morocco. Legendary malams such as Mahmoud Guinea, Hamid El-Kasri, and Hassan Hakmoun introduced this tradition to international audiences. Through collaborations with jazz, blues, rock, and world music artists, Gnawa proved that traditional heritage can evolve while keeping its original spirit. The festival Gnawa y Musique du Monde in Essaouira, created in 1998, became a global meeting point where cultures from different continents celebrate musical diversity. Gnawa was no longer only a Moroccan tradition. It became a universal language, connecting people through rhythm and emotion. The story of Gnawa culture is a story of transformation. A tradition born from difficult historical experiences became a symbol of creativity, resilience, and human connection. In 2019, UNESCO officially recognized Gnawa music as part of the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This recognition celebrated not only the music itself, but also the generations of artists, families, and communities who protected this heritage. Today, young musicians continue to reinvent Gnawa by mixing it with new styles such as hip-hop and contemporary music. From ancient African roots to the biggest stages in the world, Gnawa continues its journey, carrying the voices of the past while inspiring the future. Among the most important cities connected to this history was Sijilmassa, an ancient medieval city located in the Tafilaut region of Morocco. From the 8th century, Sijilmassa became a major crossroads for caravans crossing the Sahara. Traders from West Africa arrived with gold, ivory, salt, and other valuable goods. This city was more than a commercial center. It was a meeting place where different civilizations, languages, and traditions encountered each other. Through this historic gateway, African influences gradually became part of Moroccan society. The cultural exchanges that happened in places like Sijilmassa contributed to the creation of a rich Moroccan identity, where African heritage found a permanent place. In the 17th century, Morocco entered a new historical period under the powerful reign of Sultan Moulay Ismail. During this era, the Sultan sought to strengthen the unity and stability of the kingdom by creating a highly organized military force known as the Abid al-Bukhari. This army was composed mainly of people of African origin, who became an important part of the Moroccan state structure. Far from being only a military organization, the Abid al-Bukhari represented a complex chapter in Moroccan history, where African communities became deeply involved in the political and military life of the country. Trained under strict discipline, these soldiers protected the royal authority and participated in major events that shaped Morocco during this period. Their presence demonstrated the diversity of the Moroccan population and the different historical influences that contributed to the formation of the nation. Over generations, their descendants became integrated into Moroccan society, leaving behind a lasting cultural and historical legacy. This chapter is also connected to the broader story of Gnawa communities, whose ancestors carried memories, traditions, rhythms, and spiritual practices that continue to survive despite difficult historical circumstances. Today, the history of the Abid al-Bukhari reminds us that Moroccan identity was built through centuries of encounters between different peoples, cultures, and civilizations. the Atlantic coast of Morocco stands a city whose identity became inseparable from the history of Gnawa culture, Essaouira. Founded as a strategic port city in the 18th century, Essaouira became a meeting point between Africa, Europe, and the Arab world. Its location on the Atlantic coast allowed different cultures, traditions, and communities to interact and influence each other. During the development of the city, African communities participated in its construction and contributed to the creation of its unique social fabric. Over generations, their descendants formed one of the strongest Gnawa communities in Morocco. Behind the famous walls, the narrow streets, and the traditional houses of Essaouira, a musical heritage continued to live. The rhythms of the gembri, the sound of krakip, and the voices of the malams became part of the city's identity. The relationship between Gnawa culture and Essaouira is not only historical, it is also emotional. The ocean winds, the ancient stones, and the sounds of traditional music created a place where memory and creativity meet. Today, Essaouira is considered the spiritual capital of Gnawa culture. Every street, every square, and every musical gathering tells a story of resilience, transmission, and cultural pride. During the 18th and 19th centuries, Morocco experienced important social transformations. As slavery gradually declined, many people of African origin who had lived through difficult historical conditions began building new communities across the country. These communities searched for stability, identity, and spiritual connection. They gathered around religious spaces, known as zawiyas, places that became centers of prayer, solidarity, learning, and social support. Within these spaces, traditions were preserved through oral transmission. Elders passed stories, songs, rituals, and memories to younger generations, ensuring that their heritage would not disappear. Music became one of the strongest ways to preserve identity. Through rhythms, melodies, and ceremonies, Gnawa communities maintained a connection with their African origins while becoming an important part of Moroccan society. This period marked a major transformation. Gnawa culture moved from being only a community tradition into a wider cultural expression recognized throughout Morocco. The descendants of these communities continued to protect their heritage, proving that culture can survive historical challenges and become a source of strength and unity. After settling in Morocco, Gnawa communities began a remarkable cultural transformation. Their ancestral memories from West Africa did not disappear. Instead, they entered into dialogue with Moroccan traditions, especially popular Islam and Sufi spirituality. Over generations, a unique spiritual universe emerged, combining African symbolic traditions with Moroccan religious practices. This cultural encounter created what we know today as Gnawa spirituality. Unlike a simple mixture of traditions, this process represented a deep exchange between different worlds. African rhythms, ancestral songs, and spiritual beliefs were preserved while becoming connected with Moroccan concepts of saints, blessings, and spiritual protection. This fusion allowed Gnawa culture to survive and evolve. It created a tradition where music became more than entertainment. It became a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds, between memory and the present, between individual emotions and collective identity. Through ceremonies, songs, and rituals, Gnawa communities continue to express their history and their search for harmony. Today, this spiritual heritage remains one of the most fascinating aspects of Gnawa culture, attracting researchers, musicians, and audiences from around the world. At the heart of Gnawa culture exists one of its most important traditions, the Lila of Derdeba. This ceremony, taking place during the night, combines music, rhythm, movement, prayer, and collective participation. The Lila is not simply a musical performance. It is a structured spiritual journey where every rhythm, every color, and every sequence has a specific meaning. Under the guidance of the Malam, the master musician, the group enters a progressive musical state. The Gembri leads the melody, while the Krakib create the powerful rhythmic foundation. Participants gather in a space where music becomes a way of expressing emotions, seeking balance, and strengthening social bonds. Throughout the ceremony, different symbolic stages are performed, each associated with particular traditions and spiritual meanings. For Gnawa communities, the Lila represents a moment of connection with ancestors, with the community, and with a deeper spiritual dimension. This ancient ceremony continues today as one of the strongest expressions of Morocco's intangible cultural heritage.
Allah, Allah, ya Mulana. حمو مو للحال سيدي حمو مو للحال.
For centuries, Gnawa music has been associated with healing and emotional balance within Moroccan popular culture. Beyond its artistic dimension, music has always played an important social and spiritual role in Gnawa communities. The rhythms, melodies, and collective ceremonies create an environment where people can express emotions and seek comfort. The repetitive structure of Gnawa rhythms, combined with the deep sound of the Gembri and the metallic pulse of Krakib, creates a unique atmosphere that deeply engages listeners. Traditionally, Gnawa ceremonies were considered spaces where individuals could reconnect with themselves, their families, and their communities. These practices reflect an ancient understanding of music as a powerful human experience, capable of influencing emotions, memory, and social connection. Today, researchers and musicians continue to study Gnawa music because of its extraordinary combination of rhythm, spirituality, and cultural meaning. At the center of every Gnawa ceremony are two essential figures who preserve and transmit the knowledge of this ancient tradition, the Malam and the Mokaddema. The Malam is the master musician, the person who carries the musical and spiritual knowledge passed down through generations. His role goes far beyond playing an instrument. He guides the entire ceremony through the power of the Gembri, controlling the rhythm, the melodies, and the emotional progression of the Lila. Becoming a Malam requires years of apprenticeship, dedication, and deep understanding of Gnawa history, songs, and rituals. Alongside him, the Mokaddema, also known in some regions as the Shawafa, plays an important role in organizing the ceremony. She manages the symbolic objects, supports participants, and helps maintain the structure of the ritual. Together, the Malam and the Mokaddema represent the balance between music and spirituality, between artistic expression and cultural memory. Through their knowledge and commitment, they ensure that Gnawa heritage continues to live and is transmitted to future generations. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Gnawa Lila is the symbolic use of colors. Each color represents a different spiritual dimension and carries a specific meaning within the ceremony. The progression through these colors creates a structured journey where music, clothing, movement, and symbolism work together. The ceremony often begins with the color white, associated with purity, spiritual protection, saints, and Sidi Bilal, an important figure in Gnawa spiritual memory. Other colors represent different symbolic worlds. Black, for example, is connected with ancestral memories and powerful forces of nature. Blue evokes water and the relationship between humans and natural elements. Red symbolizes strength, intensity, and sacrifice. These colors are not simply visual decorations. They are part of a complex symbolic language that has been preserved through generations. Through this combination of sound, movement, and color, Gnawa culture creates a unique artistic and spiritual experience where every element has a purpose. Every musical tradition has an instrument that represents its identity. For Gnawa culture, that instrument is the gembri, also called sentir. This unique three-stringed instrument is considered the heart and soul of Gnawa music. Its deep and powerful sound creates the foundation of the entire musical structure. Unlike many traditional instruments, the gembri is not only used to create melodies, it carries a symbolic and emotional role. Its vibrations guide the malam and establish communication between musicians and participants. Traditionally made from wood and covered with animal skin, the gembri combines craftsmanship, history, and musical innovation. The musician uses both rhythm and melody to create a hypnotic sound that defines Gnawa identity. From intimate ceremonies to international stages, the gembri remains the instrument that connects modern audiences with centuries of African and Moroccan heritage. Alongside the deep voice of the gembri, another instrument defines the unique sound of Gnawa music, the krakib. These large metal castanets create the characteristic metallic rhythm that immediately identifies Gnawa performances. Their powerful, repetitive sound drives the movement of musicians and participants. For many Gnawa communities, the sound of the krakib carries a deep historical symbolism connected to ancestral memories and collective experiences. Beyond their musical function, krakib represent rhythm, unity, and connection. When many musicians play together, their synchronized movements create a powerful acoustic experience that has fascinated audiences around the world. Today, krakib continue to play a central role in traditional ceremonies, festivals, and international collaborations, proving that a simple instrument can carry centuries of history and emotion. Alongside the deep voice of the gembri and the metallic rhythm of the karakib, another instrument completes the powerful sound universe of Gnawa music, the tebel, also known as ganga. This large traditional drum has an essential role in outdoor celebrations, public processions, and important cultural gatherings. Its powerful sound can be heard from a distance, announcing the presence of musicians and bringing communities together. Made with a large wooden body covered with animal skin, the tebel produces a deep and impressive sound that creates a strong connection between rhythm and movement. During performances, the drummer uses different techniques and rhythms to support the malam and guide the energy of the group. Unlike instruments that are mainly used for individual expression, the tebel represents collective power. Its voice belongs to the entire community. Through festivals, ceremonies, and street performances, the tebel continues to preserve the memory of generations and keeps the traditional sound of Gnawa alive in public spaces. Today, it remains a symbol of celebration, gathering, and cultural identity, connecting ancient traditions with modern audiences.
الله ما الواق يا الله يا الله يا الله سيدي محمد الله يا الله يا الله يا الله.
At the end of the 20th century, Gnawa culture entered a new chapter in its history. After centuries of transmission within communities, this musical tradition began reaching a worldwide audience. One of the most important moments in this transformation was the creation of the Gnawa and World Music Festival of Essaouira in 1998. This event gave Gnawa artists an international stage and changed the perception of this heritage. What was once considered a community tradition became a symbol of cultural openness and artistic dialogue. Every year, musicians from Morocco and around the world gather in Essaouira to celebrate the meeting between Gnawa rhythms and global music styles, such as jazz, blues, rock, and contemporary sounds. Great malems helped introduce Gnawa music internationally, while younger generations continue to reinvent this heritage by creating new forms of expression. In 2019, UNESCO officially recognized Gnawa music as part of the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, confirming its exceptional cultural value. Today, Gnawa is more than a musical tradition. It is a message of resilience, creativity, and human connection. From ancient African roots to the biggest international stages, the voice of Gnawa continues to travel across borders, carrying centuries of memory and inspiring future generations. The story of Gnawa culture is much more than the story of a musical tradition. It is the story of a people who transformed history, memory, and challenges into a universal language of art and spirituality. From the ancient roots of West Africa to the cities of Morocco, from the intimate spaces of traditional ceremonies to the largest international stages, Gnawa music has preserved the voices of generations. Every note of the gembri, every rhythm of the krakip, and every beat of the tabal carries a message of resilience, identity, and connection between cultures. Today, Gnawa is not only a Moroccan heritage, it has become a bridge between Africa and the world, reminding us that music has the power to unite people beyond borders and differences. Recognized by UNESCO as part of humanity's intangible cultural heritage, Gnawa continues its journey through new generations of artists who protect its roots while creating the future. If you enjoyed discovering the fascinating history of Gnawa culture, subscribe to the channel and join us for more stories about the traditions, civilizations, and hidden treasures that shaped our world. Keep exploring history, keep discovering culture, and let the voices of the past continue to inspire